Welcome to ToV Live. And here, hold on one second. Okay, yep. Alright, yeah, now that sounded strong. But then I got disoriented, and I'm just like, wait a second, I had to fix something real quick. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the ToV Podcast, episode 66 tonight, where we're going to be taking a look at some VC squads and heroes. I am Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla, and yes, I am like 6 days into the flu. It's a wonderful thing, but still here, still going. And with me tonight, I have my buddy Jason, aka Rocco Robotics, as well as Jack, aka Shurig, map maker extraordinaire. I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Glad you could join in tonight. And so yeah, welcome everybody. Happy Sunday night to you all. Hope all of you are feeling better than I am, although I know there are a lot of people sick right now. So extend all those well wishes, prayers, and support to all you out there. Hope you all feel better. I do sound worse than I would feel. I would say that, but I do still feel pretty crappy. But we are gonna still continue and go through some of these VC squads tonight. But first, we are going to take a look at some comments from the last stream, or the last podcast. So let's do that real quick here. Bring those up. I just gotta find. I did set this up. So I gotta press the button, and then I'm going to save myself from reading through this. I'm going to have Jack or Jason take over for that. So here, give me a moment. Okay, we got to get this, and voila. I'm going to share. So, and this comes from the last podcast, talking about some squads and stuff. So, and this first one comes from Slugscaper. Jack, would you like to read it? Please.
Yeah. I ran an army recently consisting of only Major Q9 and 2 squads of Einar Imperium. The idea was to draw my opponent in with a trap, the high value target like Q9, then spring the trap and encircle them with the Imperium. It worked like a charm, actually. Fun squad to play and potentially quite devastating on smaller maps.
Right. So yeah, we talked about the Einar Imperium last time. How, I mean, they are a fun common squad. They're just usually not used competitively because there's just other usually better common squads out there. But I think Slugscaper here has an interesting take on that, using Major Q9 with Einar Imperium. What do you think about that, Jack?
Yeah, that's an interesting army composition. I wonder if they're playing with Delta points or not. I really like Einar Imperium and Delta. They're a really fun unit. I only have 1 squad of them, but when you can get 6 attacks a turn, it's really good. If you've ever played like Morrow drones, 6 attacks are pretty good. And they have stealth flying, so they kind of do whatever they want.
Right. They definitely do have their benefits, and like matching them up with Major Q9. Yeah, that because that gives them like a little bit of protection too, if needed. Almost like rats minus the rats. They're very deadly rats.
Yeah. Bringing them in with Q9 is interesting because he has such high range, and even if they're within 6 spaces, you can use your special attack, but you're fine with just pinging them away at 8 range. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting build, Slugscaper. I might have to actually give that a try sometime, because I got a few Einar Imperium that might be worth looking into and skirmishing. So thank you so much, Slugscaper, for that comment. And then the next comment comes from Mr. Wayne here. And before we get into that, Derek's Hobbies, Interest in Life Moment says, good evening, guys. Good evening to you, Derek. Hope you're doing well. Okay, Jason, how about you read through this one?
Sure, we'll give it a shot.
Okay.
The problem with Drew's Tay is
Zute.
not in their design. Drute? Problem
Zute.
sure,
The
that sounds
Abominable
good.
Snowmen.
Is not. Oh, okay. Oh, it's those guys.
Yeah,
Okay, from
yeah.
the one pack that I should have bought years ago at Toys R Us, and now is worth tons of money because I didn't do it then. Yes. Okay, those guys. Um, but rather in the heavy preference of bring an army over draft an army in competitive Heroscape. Unless you can draft armies based in the battlefield that you're going to be playing, units like the Drew's Day and the Greater Ice Elemental are never going to shine, and Obsidian Guards as well.
Yeah, and a Obsidian Guards, yeah. Yeah, this is one of the things when it comes to. I think you call these units a bit more thematic. I think they go with like the expansion pack, but and the terrain, but they don't really like synergize too much with anything, at least competitively. Casually, they're a ball, Say if you want to play them casually. I mean, Jason, you've got like a handful of Obsidian Guards, correct? If I remember correctly.
That's a good question.
I believe
Possibly.
it.
I
I
don't remember
believe you
everything I
have.
have, to be honest with you.
I believe you have because I know like your collection in the past. I'm pretty sure you have like one or two, and I'm pretty sure I've used them
Are those
before.
the lava guys?
Yep. Lava Rock
Oh yeah,
Monsters.
I got some of those.
Yeah.
Yes. My brain don't work quite as well as it used to. I don't remember everything I have anymore.
It comes with turning 40 plus. It's
Yes, yes, it
that's the
does.
that's the thing. But yeah. So I mean, for casually, for fun, yeah. I mean, Jack, what do you think? Not really competitively, unless you just find yourself on a certain like scenario type map.
Yeah, like I mean, I could see like in a draft scenario, like picking Zute, um, but for how much you're paying for them, I think they're like, I don't have any, so I don't remember their OG cost. I think they're like 100 points or something. Eh,
Hold on.
so like, unless you're playing draft and they're in the best case scenario map, it's hard to get the value out of them because they're still like squad figures. Um,
They're
they can be
75 point standard, 60 delta.
okay. Yeah, I mean that's better for sure. I think I had the Quasatch in mind. They're warmer cousins. Yeah, they're interesting. They their stats are really good, but all their abilities depend on you being on a snow map, and that can hurt them.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It shows that yeah they're just I mean and thematically or filmmaking wise because I use them in like Tales, they look good, they act well, but yeah competitively just no, not gonna do it, not gonna do it. So yeah Wayne, we are definite in agreement with you for that. So thank you so much for the message, Wayne. And now moving on. Um, Jack, go ahead and read this through from John and Jello.
Exactly. The D20 always keeps the gameplay lively and makes for epic memories.
And I think for this one we're talking about Doomed, the Dune character and the wonderful fun of a D20 roll, especially when it comes to Dune's ability. So yeah, when it comes to Dune, Jack, like competitively, I mean possibility, but I think there's going to be another like D20 roller coming up from Renegade that's going to be probably a bit more interesting. That's got a Dune like ability.
Yeah, you're talking about the Thyraxis Dragoon.
Mm-hmm.
I actually played a proxy game with Thyraxis Dragoon today,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I like Dune's ability better
Mm.
because there's no like limit on how often you can roll that crippling gaze.
Okay.
For the Dragoon, it's only once per round. Um, but for Dune, you can just keep on rolling it, and that that kind like when you're playing against Dune, whether it's like I mean, for me, it's usually just been like in a casual game. It's terrifying, but it's so fun. It's really fun. Just to like remove all the order markers off of your opponent's cards and just like have a free round, basically. Now, when you're on the receiving end of that, it's not so great. But yeah, I have a lot of friends back home that really liked just Dune as like a character, and also just like as a vibe. Like he's a very vibe based figure.
Yeah, I mean, and as we described it when we were going over Doom, is undisputed the best unit in the entire game. It's just undisputed. It's just that's just how it is. Thank you, Jonah and Jello, for the comment, and then Jason for the last one. Lucas Hedeke 7980 has written something. Would you like to read it, Jason?
Sure. When it comes to the OG Heroscape, it's definitely gone up 50% in value the past couple years. Doesn't matter if it's a rare set, or wave, or very common, they've all gone up.
Yeah, and this is me from last time making a very brain dead comment where was wondering like with Renegade stuff coming out, would that mean that like original Heroscape stuff is going to be like lesser or higher in value? And I was kind of like indicating that maybe it's going to be lesser, but then people are like saying, no, Ryan, what are you talking about? It's going to be more. It's going to be more. It's like...
It depends on how useful the old stuff is going to be with the new stuff. It kind of is hit or miss at other games where when new stuff comes out, if it's a lot better than the old stuff value drops off really quickly. But if, the old stuff is still fairly useful, then new players want the old stuff. So I don't know. Kind of see how things work out over time.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
It's really crazy because like I use Joe Carr's his spreadsheet of all of his pricings to kind of gauge where the market is on Heroscape, and I bought from him somewhat recently, like middle of last year, and I checked recently and it was like everything had gone up like 20%, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I should have bought these Fourth Mass like last year, because now they were like 25 back then and now they're like $40, and it's people are picking up the new stuff, and units like Death Chasers, for example, they're going to be bonding with Adelburn soon to be released, and there's not going to be enough Death Chasers in the world.
How are you going to... Well, there's not enough right now. Even like the D&D molds, they're getting bought up, and you can barely find those anymore. You have to like 3D print them.
Yeah, it makes me, really happy that I picked up 6 squads back when I was in college, just like on a whim. I was like, I like these guys, because I could not spend, what is it, like $80, $70-$80 on a squad. So yeah, anybody that's trying to get into Heroscape, I highly recommend investing in a 3D printer or finding a friend with a 3D printer, because you're gonna save a lot of money.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Does Renegade release an official statement on 3D printed miniatures in their tournaments?
They are not allowing 3D printed miniatures, which I do hope that they maybe come around on that, at least for like, anything released before 2011, right? Like, because if they have no plans to reprint those units, it's not like all that money is going to go to like people who were going to buy new Heroscape are going to, instead buy a 3D printer, right? Like, I don't think that's the case. I think it's going to be really hard to sustain a community unless you help them out, in that way. But we've seen they've been pretty lax so far.
And here, I'm just gonna go to the comments real quick. And Fat Sammy says, and I mean fat, I mean PHAT. not to sound insulting, but Fat Sammy says, made it just in time to catch it live. Glad to have you, Sammy. But Derek here says, once Renegade said there would be no reprints, it was like blood in the water for sharks. Suddenly, every auction is super rare and out of print. And Derek also says, Renegade said no 3D prints in tournaments, but Chris Pine used a 3D printed Marku in the Gen Con Championship last year, and he was not disqualified. He rode real one with him just in case. Or Chris Perkins. Okay, if you're talking about knowing Chris Pine, that would be awesome because Chris Pine, the actor. But no,
Heroscape or Chris Pine.
That would be kind of cool if Chris Pine. I know he hasn't I don't think I've seen him done much in films lately, but if he was playing Heroscape, that would be dope. That would be kind of dope. But yeah, no, I was gonna mention that, Derek, that us as a community, we can make 3D prints that look so good that, and the thing is that we repaint original molds all the time anyway, that it's hard to tell sometimes if it's original or if it's been a repainted original or a 3D printed painted one that looks like an original. So that's really hard to judge. I know they say that it's not allowed, but how are you going to tell? I think this might be internally something that they might have to course correct, because I understand, in one sense, I understand the rule, because then you could just throw anything in there. But when it's something that looks, as like the original, that you can't tell the difference, then what are you going to do about it? Obviously you're not going to say, grab a pawn from a chessboard and be like, okay, this is a Drake Alexander. No, obviously that's not going to do it. But when it's something you can't tell a difference about and you have the card, why not?
I wonder if there's a concern on topic of having the card, if people are bringing an actual copy of the card with 3D printed miniature, or they bring in a printout of the card. And therefore, if they're bringing a printout of the card, is that card entirely accurate? And then it comes up to whoever's running the tournament to basically look at every card, comparing it to Heroscapers.com, and make sure all the text of all the special abilities is right, and make sure that the health is not up by 1 or whatever it is. And that becomes a bit of a real nightmare for the tournament runners. That
is another good point. And I'll counter in saying that they probably don't check that as well either, because us as a community, we reprint original cards almost as good as the original ones as well. Yeah. So it's tough.
It's just too hard to
flesh
tell.
Out counterfeits. It's really tough, unless it's just you have individual players playing and then someone points out, oh hey, look, something looks off with this card. As long as if it's an exact reprint of the card, then no problem, But yeah, if you're altering the stats, then yeah, obviously no, of course not. I think if you're any type of competitive Heroscape player, you should have a measure of goodwill in you to not do that type of cheating, because how does who says don't be a d-bag? I think that's what most of the ScapeCon
don't be a jackwagon.
Yeah, don't be a jackwagon. Yeah, there you go. Matthias Maccabees says that. So yeah. I would. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say that I understand if Renegade is they obviously don't want people reprinting the stuff that is being produced by them.
Mm-hmm.
That makes total sense.
Sure.
I as a company, that makes total sense. You want them to spend their $25 on a Hellforged Manticore that they bought from your company. But if they have no intentions to reprint old stuff, I don't see there being that big of a deal, especially when the aftermarket is how it is right now.
It's nuts. I think it's gonna. If the Renegade stuff gets more and more popular, I don't know. That's just gonna be.
There is also a whole problem and issue with copyright, because I assume Hasbro still owns the copyright to the original Heroscape stuff. And
Yeah.
very likely, obviously, this gets into the legal question of what the license agreement is, but it's probably Hasbro's problem to enforce that copyright. It's probably not Renegade's. I'm not sure. Obviously, I don't know what the legal agreement is. But if people are now 3D printing a whole bunch of original Heroscape stuff and using that in Renegade events, that potentially could make a Renegade liable for copyright infringement, or make it look like they're facilitating copyright infringement, and they don't want to tick off Hasbro because Hasbro has a license. They can pull a license.
Okay.
It's a lot of theory crafting. I mean, it's not like Hasbro would do that, but that is one of those things you have to think about as a company who's holding onto a license, where you only have part of the intellectual property.
So as Renegade, just to protect themselves legally, they have to say this type of thing.
Yes,
Basically.
possibly. They may be thinking that.
Okay.
There may be a thought going through their head, or they may just be thinking we don't want to tick off Hasbro, because if Hasbro pulls a license, then they're screwed.
Yeah, that is very true. Hexala says, Renegade's Certified Future Inspector Program. You know, hey, that title. You know, you could probably hire a few dozen hundred. Fat Sammy says, struggles of success. Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Lucas, for that comment and following discussion. And thank you, everybody, for the comments. Thank you, Jason and Jack, for your input and help here. Let me do the stop sharing thing here, and we'll start moving on real quick to the next things. I'm just gonna again say hi to those of you in the chat: Sammy, Derek, Hexala. Glad you guys could join us tonight, and all of the unspoken crowd out there. We're gonna dive into some DC stuff in a moment. I'm just going to give a quick look at something. Okay, so what we're gonna do then is start sharing this. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this and bring this up. So we're going through the DC waves, and we're starting with just basically DC. Okay, and again, like 6 days into the flu, my mind's not great, so if I say something and it sounds wrong, it probably is wrong, and I apologize in advance. But VC, we're starting. We did at a previous ToV podcast. We started with the first 3 units, more or less, that were in line to be released way back when, and now we're just gonna move down the line here for the next ones. So here I'm gonna share screen and hit this and get this, and it should pop up like that. Yeah, there we are. Okay, awesome. So let me just get here. So I guess the first one will be Kira Jax there. And so here, so we go, so VC Customs releases again. Link description below if you want to check out the Valhalla Customs page, where they are on Heroscapers. Check those out so you can give them a look as well. And so that is what we are going to do here. So C3V Wave 1, Thorm's Reprieve. Book of Kira Jax, and who wants to start with this? Jack, would you like to start us off first with Kira Jax here?
Sure thing. Okay, so Kira Jax.
Oh, wait a second. I'll pop that up there. Make that screen bigger. I apologize.
Yep. Okay, so Kira Jax. I guess we'll start from. You want me to start from like the left stats? Go to the.
Yeah, just read
to the right from there.
Go ahead and read the whole card. Go ahead and read the whole card.
Yep. So Kira Jax is a Meridian unique hero. They're a scout, and their personality is tricky. They're a medium 5, and they are an Aquila unit. Their ability is exploit weakness. At any point before, during, or after movement, you may choose one opponent's figure within 6 clear side spaces of Kira Jax. All of the special powers on the chosen figure's army card, or cards if your opponent has more than one common army card for that figure, are negated until the end of Kira Jax's turn. Kira Jax can only use exploit weakness once per turn. And then she has 3 life, 5 move, range 7, attack 3, defense 2, costs 30 points.
That's interesting. Wow. And I'm sorry, I'm just reading through exploit and weakness again because you read it, but I do not understand a darn thing.
Let's break it down, okay?
Okay, yeah,
so on her turn, she can choose a figure, and that figure's all of their abilities on their text are no longer active. So what that looks like in practice is you have her come out and say you're running, Raylan Rats Q9, and I have Kira Jax in my army. I can target Raylan, and then Raylan's aura no longer works for that turn. And then I can choose another target to attack, or I can attack Raylan. I don't have to attack the figure that I choose to exploit weakness on, essentially.
And this doesn't have to be a 20 die roll. It happens.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. Her downside is that she's very fragile.
Sure.
She only has 1 attack per turn, and she doesn't have any sort of bonding. She has some limited synergy. We can look down here.
Down here.
So she does have synergy with the M43s, which are Meridians, and she may benefit from their guerrilla tactics. Essentially, what that means is that, let's see, once after taking a turn with the M43s, you can move any Meridian figure that didn't attack that turn up to 3 spaces. So she gets a little bit of movement boost from them. Same with the Vanak Warlord. She's a scout figure, so she can add 2 to her movement if you have the Vanak Warlord in your army. And Brave Arrow, if Brave Arrow is adjacent to her, she gets an extra attack dice against adjacent figures. And Teeth of the Makwa, after taking a turn with the Scouter Tribesman hero you control, you may move with the 6 Teeth of the Makwa you control up to 3 spaces each. So there's limited synergy, but there's no direct bonding. She can't take an attack and a whole turn on on your another figure's turn.
Gotcha. And okay, wow. And but it can still affect a lot of.
Yes.
Wow.
There's a lot of things that it just turns off, which is it seems really crazy, but it only happens on her turn, and she has to pick that figure. Oh yeah, and that last photo of her just gunning down Asamu is really. You turn off Disappearing Ninja, he can no longer disappear.
Oh wow. And again, this is auto in it. I was gonna say, and this exploit weakness also has a range too, 6 sight spaces. That's pretty good. I think Doc says at the bottom part of this that it's a good filler. It's a nice filler unit, and at 30 points, yeah, I would say so. I'm gonna look real quick, let's see here. What is she for? Okay, so she's 30 points for both standard and delta. Okay. So still, that's not bad for a filler unit though. Especially if you're going up against something that has a Raylan, standard. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, if you compare her to the other 30-point heroes, she fills an interesting niche. You gotta take her or Guilty. Guilty's a little bit more offense for less defense. And Kira Jax is it, actually, she's kind of technically stronger defense, or stronger offense for that same point. It's just different kinds of offense. Do you want a figure that can attack once and cut through like a really annoying defensive power like stealth armor or disappearing ninja? Yeah, it's an interesting choice. There are definitely times where I consider her over Guilty McCreature or over like an Eldgrim. She's just really easy to fit into a lot of armies, and if you have other things in your army that kind of cover her blind spots, then she can be a useful endgame piece for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it seems like it. Here, do you want to read the bio for it? Because there is some bios written on some of these VC units. If you'd like to read it.
Yeah, sure. All right. Kira Jax was moving very carefully so she wouldn't be spotted. The gap between the buildings in front of her was exposed to the enemy, but she couldn't wait. She had to warn her squadron before the Solberg army, twice the size they had expected, made it this far. Slipping a small extension mirror out of her sleeve, she slowly edged it around the doorway. No one to the left and no one to the right. She let out a quick sigh, then, with all her might, bolted out into the open air. She grabbed the frame of the door on the far side, gripping tight to swing herself in. But, as she kicked off, a large metal claw caught her left leg and ripped her hand off the door frame. Lithely, she twisted to come face to face with electric red eyes and a metal glare. Major X-17's lights flashed as he began to scan her, but she wasn't going to give him a chance to tag her. She had made it 9 years so far without being tagged, and she wasn't planning on ending that streak today. Right arm pressed against X-17's breastplate, she pulled up an empty syringe out of her medical pocket with her left hand and expertly jabbed it into the centimeter-long gap between the Major's arm and claw. Major X-17's entire body froze and his eyes blinked out. Kira Jax took the split second she had before the Major's systems rerouted to pry open the claw. Kira was already on the move before her feet hit the ground. She dashed into the other building and wove her way around the smaller gaps in the rubble where only a Death Reaver could follow. Time was running out.
That's interesting. I like it that they can like make a not only just a good unit, but come up with story too behind it. That's what makes Heroscape. Yeah.
This is Kira's interesting too because it's it was the first Meridian figure that we got, and Meridians, as you may know, were these enslaved humans in the world of the Solborgs and Zeddy, so they're talked a lot about in the classic lore, and it's cool to see what the fan made take on that world is like. It's really cool.
And since this is like a custom unit, the figure that they used this for was an AT/43 figure from the UNA faction, the Captain H. Newton. Obviously, like older minis that you may or may not be able to find anymore, but that's why we got 3D printers now. So that totally levels the playing field when it comes to doing that. But well, and that's great. So and other thoughts before we close out for Kira Jax here.
There's one on eBay right now for $70. Buy it now.
Ooh, better run fast.
Is that a good price for it?
No, get a 3D print. just either 3D print it yourself or Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it'd be looking like at the no, is that the miniature or the VC unit?
That's the actual AT-43 miniature on eBay.
Wow. Yeah, get a 3D print.
Is that the same? That might be. I don't know if that's the same. Looks like a different pose, but maybe not.
Okay. Well, if they're that expensive though, and this is the problem when it comes to like some of these older VC releases. These were releases like 10 plus years ago, for like miniatures that were probably in better circulation back then. But now it's like, really hard to find.
AT-43 was like 2008, 2007, sometime around that time frame. It came out and it only lasted a few years.
Okay. So yeah, older. So yeah, definitely try, maybe get a 3D print of this if you really want it. I mean, it's very interesting, and you never know when your fellow Heroscaper might have one to take out your army that just is supported by Raylan all the time. So definitely probably one to look out for. All right, so with that, that is taking a look at Kira Jax for VC Customs. All right. So before we move on to the next one, hey Joe, how you doing? Joe. Well, he signed in.
Testing.
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
wait.
What the heck? Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
There he goes. Now it's working. All right, perfect time. One of my favorite units. Let's go.
We just closed with Kira Jax, so
I know. I was here for that part.
Okay, good. I don't know if you were listening or not. Here, let me just read a couple in the chat here. Derek is saying customs are starting to cost as such or more than official out of print units. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, and that's why we try to push the 3D printing as much as possible, because it's just like Jason said, $70. I saw that same pricing earlier today when I was making the thumbnail. I was like, oh, I'm just curious because I have my friends and I, we use a proxy for Kira, that's pretty decent, model, and I looked at the original model. I'm like, bro, there's no way it's $70. That's ridiculous. So,
Hero Guy is asking, it's hard to find 3D files of the customs. Does anyone know a resource for them? Thingiverse?
Interesting.
Check out.
It's gonna be hit or miss.
Yeah. For Thingiverse, I know there is an account that I've 3D printed some customs. I don't know if Kira Jax is part of that. But Hero Guy, I can put a link in the description later for that. If I can find it, I should be able to find it. To where there might be possible units to 3D print out there, because there are people that do make some of them out.
There's always a challenge too. They often name them something else, even though it's the exact miniature, just to try not to get automatic copyright flagged. Not that I think Rackham Games even still around, but someone owns the IP to that. So you might be able to just searching for a name. An AT-43 might not even bring up the STL file, but if you know what her secret name is that other people call her.
Kira Jax. You just look up the Kira Jax miniature.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes.
Yeah, and there you go. So yeah,
a little slow there.
That avoids that.
It does actually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, right here.
Yeah. There you go. See. So Thingiverse. Yep. There you go.
Hold on.
So Jason found it pretty fast.
Yep, there's one on Thingiverse. Yes, you are correct.
Yep, there you go. And Derek's saying, I can't find an official Corver, the Tainted One miniature.
Scan of the file.
For that a miniature, and it made me all uselessly sour towards customs. Derek, I got a Corver, the Tainted One, and I had someone 3D print and then paint it. Basically, name escapes me right now, but yeah, they did that. That's because trying to find that for that miniature, you're looking to pay out a lot to try to find something for that. Yeah. So how about we move on? Joe, how about you? How would you like to take over, sir, for the next one?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I felt horrible when I was like, oh, I got to run late. Oh, Ryan was like, oh, I'm not going to have time to talk.
Excuse me.
I'm ready to talk now. So
yes, please, sir. Please do.
I'm putting my my face out there. So give me 1 second. There it is.
There it is.
Hello. Hi. All right, Omegacron, right? All right, Jandar's got robots too. You know that, guys? Did you guys know that?
Well, we'll do a Megacron in a second. I think next is Nicholas Esenwein, right?
Wait, I thought we were going in the order.
I thought this is the order, or am I doing it wrong again?
What did you guys
Nicholas
do first?
is number 2.
Hold
Kira Jax
on.
is 1. Nicholas is 2. At least on the sheet that Ryan sent out.
I should get it right.
I messed it up.
Okay, good. Don't tell me because
Wait,
I'm starting to get feverish. You know, so, it's like
Wait. Yeah. Kira, Nicholas. Oh, you know why? Because I was sticking in the thumbnail order. I messed it up with the thumbnail order.
I see.
Yeah. So we're on Nicholas. Oh, cool. Because that's even better. Because I have a story about that. Awesome. All right, let's go to Nicholas.
Let's do it.
I had pulled up Omegacron. Man, I am losing it too, and I'm not even sick. So sick in the brains. I got the worms. All right, Nicholas Esenwein, Valkyrie. You guys know this Valkyrie still exists, right? Valkyrie lives.
It's the general who must not be named. You know.
Yeah. Nicholas Esenwein. Esenwein.
I say Esenwein.
What do you guys think? Esenwein?
Yeah, that's what I say.
Yes, he is an undead unique hero, a duke, and he's very dominating. Interesting, dominating. Medium 4, life of 5, move 7. He's flying. We'll talk about that in a bit. Range 1, attack 4, defense 4 at a whopping 140 points. He's got a dope pose for those audio listeners. He's got a really awesome pose. Love his model. But he's got 3 sick powers. He's got Bloodborne Rising, overextended attack, and the basic flying. Bloodborne Rising is probably his probably the one power that you're like, that's different. So each time Nicholas Esenwein destroys a figure, you may remove a wound marker from this army card if the destroyed figure was small or medium and not undead. Replace that figure immediately, if possible, with one of your own previously destroyed thralls. Nicholas Esenwein may not use Bloodborne Rising on destructible objects. Then he has overextended attack. Just like our classic boy, Viking, someone help me out here. Alistair McDirk. After taking a turn with Nicholas Esenwein, you may I'll keep doing it wrong. You may place a wound marker on Nicholas Esenwein's and take another turn with him. You may only use this power once during a round. And then, of course, he has flying, like I said. But everyone knows what flying does, right? Right, guys? Everybody knows what flying does.
You fly.
There's no way any classic unit could possibly have that worded any differently. Flying has been like this the entire time.
You just get to say Nicholas Esenwein a bit more times, you know, in it.
That's true, yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, about 3 times, yeah.
But, so, obviously the big thing here is Bloodborne Rising. That is the big one. I mean, we're gonna talk about powers real quick, because we don't. There aren't any thralls, right? Like at this point, like there's no classic thralls, right?
Right. They're just VC thralls. There's a bunch of those.
Yeah, and I don't know how far down the timeline that is, but that's cool. Having a character that literally doesn't really work that well until much further down. Oh wait, no, the next grouping we have the Prey Blood Thrall coming out. But yeah, so being able to bring back units with a hero unit is pretty dope. So gotta tell you, I actually fought against this army, Nicholas Esenwein and Thralls.
Mm-hmm.
Deadly. This is an awesome, awesome army. And being able to essentially fly back and forth, kill, heal, respawn, respawn, kill, heal. It was so cool to see. I mean, of course, I was on the other end losing, but that's seeing another army destroy you. That's so unique in that manner. It is an absolute pleasure. So, has anyone ever else played with or experienced Nicholas?
We played like an online multiplayer game a while back, and Dicel was running Nicholas with some thralls, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's really crazy to have a vampire that can overextend and potentially heal twice on a turn and like respawn. These like disgusting deadly creatures. He's a really scary unit.
Absolutely. And you look at that life of 5 and you think, well, that seems fair, based on the points.
Mm-hmm.
5 life with that type of power, you would expect something a little bit larger, like a 6 or 7 life unit. But 5 does make it pretty fair to deal with. So you got to get some good heavy attacks. But that attack 4, defense 4, that's heavy duty right there. That's crazy. That's super nuts. So what's interesting about this model as well, before even finding this unit, I actually had picked up this is actually from a game called D&D Dungeon Command. And I had picked up that particular box without even knowing to have any custom units in there. It wasn't until later on that I saw that there was I don't know if it's the Prey Blood. Which one's the dog? There's a dog thrall.
I think it is the Prey Blood.
Yeah.
Or maybe Dark Prowl.
The Dark Prowl thrall. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was in there. Nicholas was in there, and I want to say one of the. I think the Prey Blood is the zombie-looking one. It's, if you got anyone looks at the model, sorry, audience, it looks like this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's got a nice pose.
So, yeah, still pretty easy to find.
Yeah, D&D miniature,
Yeah, I mean it is technically a D&D miniature, but the Dungeon Command version as well. That box is still pretty easy to find. It's not $20, but it's but it's not 200 either. So, all right, but we do have some. Do we have a bio?
Mm-hmm.
We do have a bio.
Yeah, we do.
Awesome. So I'm gonna read off the bio to you guys.
Go ahead.
In quotations, as if someone was talking. Iskra, Nicholas whispered. Call echoed in the hallway, pulling Iskra from the moonlit view of Phelan. Nicholas appeared, uncharacteristically focused, but she raised a disapproving eyebrow at him nonetheless. Nicholas advanced down the corridor, a sinister smile creeping across his face. Cockiness is unbecoming in a noble, Iskra said bluntly, and she turned back to the balcony. She heard Nicholas throatily chuckle and felt him slink up behind her. His arms crept around her midsection. He rested his chin in the hollow of her neck, silent. I want to show you something, Nicholas said after a moment. There was an earnest excitement in his voice that Iskra had not heard before. She hesitated, and he released her and floated up off the balcony, hovering in midair, and extended his hand, still that sinister smile. Come, he said, his eyes pleading, eager to share something important. But what? Iskra cocked her head, suspicious. She had become used to his plans and schemes, his chronic deviousness. This, however, was almost too sincere for him, and it put her off guard. Tell me what it is first, she said. Then I might follow you. Your recklessness has nearly destroyed us more than once. Nicholas bared his fangs, and his smile widened. It is our future. Interesting. Does anyone know what that means? What is
No
the
idea.
thralls the future? Is that his power? Is talking about that? Because that is something pretty spectacular.
Possibly, because you got them here, all the thralls.
Yeah.
You got yeah, even
So,
like the
as of-
skeletons and stuff.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
for
Yeah. So
synergies.
coming down to the combinations and synergies, we do have a lot of synergies here. So like Ryan said, we have all the thralls. There's Prey Blood thralls, Death Strike thralls, Bloodburst thralls, and Dark Prowl thralls. And obviously we'll get to the Prey Blood next time we do this. And then and that's obviously because of the thrall power for the Blood Moon rising power. Skeletons of Annalita has necromancy. As an undead duke, skeletons of Annalita can be placed on Nicholas Esenwein's card to potentially reanimate. So that's awesome as well. Synergy benefits received: paralyzing fear, the zombie Hulk. As an undead figure, Nicholas Esenwein may be aided by Zombie Hulk's paralyzing fear special ability. We got Skull Demon, Valkyr or Attack Aura 1 as a Valkyr figure with a range of 1. Skull Demons can boost Nicholas's attack. Ew! like he needed more attack. And then Synergy imposed Anna Carithion, turn undead special attack as an undead figure. Nicholas Esenwein, oh my god, is subject to Anna Carithia's turn undead special attack, which I don't remember what that does.
It's synergy imposed, basically. So these are like Anna and Van Nessing are like units you could put up against them, basically.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah. And of course, yeah, like Ryan just said, we got Van Nessing, Divine Mission as an undead figure. Nicholas is just subject to Van Nessing's +2 attack die when attacking. Van Nessing takes another turn using Divine Mission. Wow.
Yeah, and power rankings like a B by Doc. So that's
Yeah.
and there.
I'm shocked that's a B. Jack, you play more competitive than I do. Does that feel shocking to you, or does that feel right?
It feels about right. I'd say he's held back by the fact that like he can't take turns with the thralls on like the same
True.
order marker. So you're still only taking a turn with a hero, and I'd mostly get 2 attacks, which, in competitive, we like attacks per turn,
the numbers
and dice per game. It's all a numbers game.
Of course, yeah.
But he's definitely like no slouch. Like you could take like a. I mean, we run in the same competitive circle, Joe.
Mhm.
I think we've seen people bring thralls to be in under events or stuff like that.
Sure.
And they're totally viable there, and they're definitely playable in Delta.
Yeah. Oh, let me look that up. I didn't even think of that.
the thralls.
Let's look up what the delta is for him.
I think it's the same points, isn't it?
Is he?
I think he's the same points, but the thralls get cheaper.
Yeah, the thralls.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he is the same points. Wow. Let's see the difference. Thralls or Prey Blood Thralls 15. Dark Prowl is 20. Death Strike's 20. Bloodburst is 25. And Delta, we switch it off. Ooh, all 30. Wow. Okay. That is quite the difference.
Derek in the chat saying dominating Duke, 50 Shades of Esenwein.
Yes. Where's that meme? Make him up. Make it up.
50 Shades of Esenwein.
I mean, honestly, I kind of felt kind of naughty reading that bio. He was creepy.
Yeah. And hence vampire, Valkyr on top of that too. So
Yeah.
he doesn't run with Utkar.
No. He's got different plans. He likes the chaos. He embraces it.
All right. And anything else
Yeah,
we
he
want to say?
definitely seems-
Oh yeah, go ahead, Jack.
Well, just to the point of the Valkyrie versus Utgar, he definitely seems to be a lot more sinister, and I think that's kind of VC's angle on Valkyrie is that Valkyrie is just kind of like Utgar is like this lawful evil type, and Valkyrie is just chaos, you know, and he does not, creating like reanimating these these people who once roamed the earth into these disgusting creatures. That seems like something that Valkyrie would like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hands down.
Yep. Dominating or disgusting, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So he's a main event. He's not a side character.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're building your armies, you got to think of him first.
You gotta,
140 points is quite a bit.
Yeah, you got to think for all.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say though, for any of those adventurers out there for Heroscape Adventure, he's a good one.
Oh yeah, he would be fun actually to play.
He would be really good for it, because before I fully announced Heroscape Adventure, I did a bunch of play tests, and my friend Glenn had taken Nicholas, and they had some extra points left over, and he's like, "Hey, can I take a couple thralls, with Nicholas?" And I said, "You know what? Go ahead." So, think about that. Next time you ever put yourself in the position to play Heroscape Adventure, always ask to include something like that for your synergies if you guys have points. But yeah, he's a fun one.
Yeah. Anything else to say before we close up this particular unit?
Unlike Kira, he's actually a fairly decent price on eBay. Several of them for about $20.
Yeah, D&D miniatures. Solid. Yeah, D&D miniatures pretty timeless. So yeah, it's relatively simple one you can pick up for sure. Anything else, guys? No? We're good. I think we explained it well. So, and even for those of you who might not get it, you might still see it on the battlefield. So, prepare yourselves. All right. With that, that's taking a look at Nicholas Esenwein from the VC Customs. All right. Now, moving on to the next one. And Jason, do you want to give this one a read?
All right. So we're looking at Omegacron, who follows Jandar. He's a Solborg, unique hero, commander, precise. His size is large, 7. 4 life, moves 5 spaces, has a range of 7 with 3 attack, 6 defense. His abilities include the double attack, which allows him to attack 1 additional time. Omegacron mobilization. Instead of moving with Omegacron, you may move up to 3 other Solborg figures you control who follow Jandar up to 5 spaces each. And with directed fire, instead of attacking with Omegacron this turn, you may choose up to 3 unengaged Solborg squad figures you control who follow Jandar to take a single turn with the chosen figures, during which the chosen figures may only attack. Omegacron must also have line of sight to any figure attacked using directed fire. And all told, he comes in at 180 points.
Well, okay, Joe. I know you said that I would enjoy this one because since I love an Omegacron army. Or Omegacron sniper army, I can see now why you're telling me that, especially with the mobilization and directed fire.
Mm-hmm.
That that's very interesting.
I mean, even directed fire too. It's like you can move Omegacron and then fire at the other guys. So it's a kind of like what you want to do. You want to move and attack. You can play around with it a little flexible.
He got a pretty nice defense too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be on the field for a little bit. Let's see here. Jason, tell people where they can get this particular miniature, and let us know if it's actually one that you could get, or you just 3D print it.
Well, there's some details here. So this is from the MechWarrior Dark Age tabletop miniatures game, which has been gone for a long time, and it is Marauder 2C, which was one of the uglier decisions that WizKids made because it's just one of the ugly features they did. The actual Marauder 2C from Battletech looks so much cooler than this thing. This was just one of their WizKids' weird design choices. So it comes from the Vanguard set. However, it's actually a tournament prize of some sort. So you would have had to either compete in an event, and you would have got it as part of your entry fee to the event, or worst case scenario, you would have to win the event or come in second place in the event. Even today, all the MechWarrior Dark Age tournament win ones are very, very hard to come by. It took me like 10 years to find the one that was for my missing army that I played back in 2005. So fortunately, there are plenty of other Marauder 2C miniatures. Hey, look at that. How you got one?
Yeah, I do.
Is that
the actual miniature, or did you repaint one of the other ones?
I know my buddy
Hold on.
I think added to it a little bit. He put a Jandar symbol on the side. I know the camera's not picking up. Put some dirt on the legs a bit. But I'm pretty sure that this is an original model.
Wow. So it's not a 3D print. It's an original model.
Yeah, because I think the only reason I know that because it's on. Let me see. I'll have to talk to him.
That's dope.
And you don't need to 3D print this guy because there were about a half a dozen.
This is how I know. I could turn the arms.
You'd be able to actuate. Yeah.
That's how I know.
All the MechWarrior guys had some sort of actuation to them. But yeah, like they're about $15 for a Marauder 2. You just got to give them a white primer, add the blue details. And if you have the actual one like what Joe has there, if you film the video of yourself cutting it off the base, you'll make MechWarrior players that still around today cry.
Yeah, that's on the peanut.
Yeah, if the arms.
I've made jokes about repurposing those old MechWarrior figures for other games in the past on my YouTube channel, and I've had people post comments saying, "For the love of God, do not mangle those miniatures. They're hard to come by these days."
Oh no.
They're not going to like us Heroscapers very much then. So Jason, you were saying then that what type of like MechWarrior models you could get for this that would be good proxies?
The Marauder 2C, they're all the exact same miniature. They're just painted differently.
Gotcha.
So if you just type Marauder 2C into eBay, and there's a couple really cheap ones.
Okay, so that's a bit of information that might be interesting. So it doesn't have to actually be 084. You can just repaint the it's the same model. That's fascinating actually. How about Jason? You read the character bio here. There's a little bit.
I need to zoom it up a little bit. Getting old, and blue font is a very poor choice for background.
Yes.
All right.
Here, I'll try and...
Target acquired. Units 3 through 5, fire. Unit 3, firing. Unit 4, firing. Unit 5, firing. Target neutralized. Acquiring targets. Units 1 and 2, advance. Unit 1, en route. Unit 2, reported malfunctions. Servos A12-YA9, off the line. Unit 9, fall back. Secure or salvage Unit 2. Unit 9, acknowledged, secure or salvaged. This all transpired in the space of seconds, a series of electronic messages sent back and forth along the Solberg chain of command. Omegacron had no eyes, no visual receptors with which to perceive the world around him, yet to him the battlefield was alive. In his internal network were 1,000 scattered dots of light, each one representing a life form tagged and tracked by the vast network of Solbergs around him. In his electronic brain, he held his hands above the field, watching the delicate dance of lights unfold beneath him. Even though Solbergs are typically not prone to self-reflection or imagination, he had a very clear internal picture of himself. Something deep in his programming, in the electronic instinct printed into his processors, was a man. Slim, humanoid with glasses. He knew deep down the image of the man was his line's programmer, his father in a way. Most likely he had died more than 100 years ago, but this man whom he'd never known was his only reference to how a person looked, so he thought of himself like that. His clothes were black and lit with blue stripes. Below him, the points of light scurried around him like so many ants, the blue ones at his beck and call, the red ones slowly being snuffed out. He waved his hand and a dozen repulsors broke off and surrounded a larger point of light. From the radar reports, he knew it was a Death Stalker. With the flick of his wrist, the exact positioning data was downloaded, streamed to the nearest sniper's head. Without turning his head, the sniper's arm moved the exact vector required, and with microsecond precision pulled the trigger. The Deathstalker's light was snuffed. Blue light scattered from its location towards the next target. Omegacron nodded, his hands delicately moving over the grand tapestry, total and absolute knowledge at his command. The tapestry rippled. Omegacron blinked, checking his receptors. They were fully functional. At the very corner from the east came a wave, slowly tearing up his tapestry, his masterpiece, his work, replacing it with a mass of red, glowing stripes.
Ah,
Very cool.
that's
Very
it's
cool.
it's so nice that you'd write a bit of lore just for a custom unit like that, you know. And we've had it, like, this is the third one so far where they've had it. Lovely.
Yeah, they're online right now. They're like just on point.
Mm-hmm.
This is so cool.
And this was what, 10 plus years ago now. Like,
Yeah.
that, you know, they did this. It's just, yeah, thank you guys for doing
I wish are there official dates for these? You know what? Yeah, this is posted. Yeah, 2011.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
And again, yeah, so the synergy benefits, obviously the snipers, Omnicron repulsors. It just basically just helps these guys out a lot. And so here, again, we got, or I don't know who this power ranking is from. Doesn't say, actually. It says, much like Spartacus, he takes a bunch of points off the top of your army, but in high point games, the Cron Roller can be devastating B+. Interesting. And there's one with new base on it as well. That I guess there's the image for all the mech warrior people to see there. Yeah, that's a peanut base, guys. That's a peanut base. Yeah, I find I gotta get one of these. I definitely gotta find like one on eBay, and just if I gotta repaint it, because yeah, this one is nice.
Yeah, Omegacron is one of those units that I think I underrated for a long time until somebody started showing up with like the Cron armies, the Cron troller armies online, and like he was doing really, really well. And it's kind of amazing, like how much he adds to like the, you know, Omnicrons and repulsors. He's a really fun figure to play, and he can kind of just chill in the start zone the entire game until he needs to come out, and just kind of, you know, rock you.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, because
basically,
yeah. No, I was gonna ask, can you do both those special abilities at the same turn?
Yes. They are, you know, instead of
moving,
you know, moving or attacking.
Wow.
But yeah, you can do both of those. So you can take a full turn with, like, you know, other units in the game. Yeah, it's really cool because you can basically like set up some repulsors to move adjacent to units, and then you can use your snipers to hit those figures with their deadly shot, and then they get like the extra bonus that the repulsors give.
Like, what a fascinating way to just do bonding. Like, stuff like this is just so much fun. It brings so much life to the world of Valhalla, with these characters. You know, just to reiterate what Jack was saying, is like, you know, you can choose to move. I mean, look, you could take a full turn with him. That's absolutely possible. Or you can take an entire turn with another squad or unit. Like, it doesn't specify hero, doesn't specify, you know, I guess, well, directed fire. Instead of attacking three unengaged soulbark figures. That one specifies, squad figures. But mobilization, you could do hero. You could do because you can move Zeta.
Yeah.
But you just can't shoot with Zeta. So I think that's where they were trying to balance that one out a bit.
And the really cool thing too is due to the way Omegacron is written, you actually get around the repulsor's circuitry overload ability, which is kind of a nerf on repulsors. So if you want to play repulsors without having to worry about circuitry overload, like worry about blowing up some of your own Jandar figures, you can bypass that with Omegacron.
Wow. Yeah, that just makes it very, very valuable. Wow. Yeah, I definitely got to get me one and then just start like practicing skirmishing with it, because I think that might be a good fit into the growing Omnicron army that I currently use for sure. Anything else we want to say about this very, very good VC unit?
He's up there.
Yeah,
I wish I play with him more. I just don't have all the crons, but for what I've seen, it's go get him.
Yeah, I'd say so. Absolutely. So this is taking a look at Omegacron. Definitely give him a consideration, because more than likely or not, you're going to see him in a competitive battlefield. So that's taking a look at that one from VC Customs. All right. Now, let's see here. Derek is saying, I repainted one for a Heroscape fan and sent it to him. I cut off its face. Yeah, Mech Warrior fans are probably going to have to be a little bit disappointed, because when it surprised me because, actually, and before we move on to the next one, there was a moment when we did our first Valhalla Customs stream, and we did Zombie Hulk, but of course we're taking the miniature from a different game, and someone left a comment below for that individual video saying, what the F is this? This miniature belongs to this game. What the F are you talking about? Whatever. I'm like, did you read the title of the video? We acknowledge that we're using the miniature for something different. So.
Yeah, we know it's from a different miniature game. We don't care.
Yes.
Yeah.
We play Heroscape here.
And let's see, Justin's in chat. Joining late, was over at my parents, and they turned on Superman Christopher Reeve story on CNN, which completely sucked me. Hey, I understand that. Christopher Reeve, legend. Absolute legend of a man for sure. But glad you can join us now, Justin. We are just wrapping up with Omegacron here, and going to be moving on to the last in line here. Let's see here. Who wants that? Jack, do you want to do this one? Go ahead. Why don't you finish us off here for tonight?
Yeah. So we've got Captain John Varan to close us out tonight. He is a human unique soldier, and he is fearless. He's medium 5, follows Jandar. He's got a life of 5, move 5, range 6, attack 3, defense 3. And he costs 80 points. He has 2 abilities, Purple Heart and Battle Valor. Purple Heart, when a human you control who follows Jandar and is adjacent to Captain John Varan receives 1 or more wounds from an attacking figure who is not adjacent, you may instead place all of those wound markers on this army card. And then Battle Valor, range 5, attack 2. It's a special attack. Instead of moving and attacking normally, Captain John Varan may use Battle Valor Special Attack. When using Battle Valor Special Attack, Captain John Varan may move up to 3 spaces before attacking. When moving and attacking with Battle Valor Special Attack, Captain John Varan may move and attack 1 additional time for each wound marker on this army card.
Wow. That's interesting.
Pretty interesting figure. Yeah. He's also shown up a couple times. I've played against him a couple times. I haven't played him myself, but he's definitely one of those figures that I want to play sooner than later. Yeah.
Let me see here. Let me read. Oh, there's a character bio here. If you want to read it, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I'll read off of your screen.
Yep.
A sweltering jungle heat blanketed the encampment of a combined action platoon assigned to one of the hamlets within the Marine tactical area of responsibility. This 15-man rifle squad had orders to protect the Chu Lai village from communist forces positioned just miles outside the walls. The Marine Corps attempted a counterinsurgency was proving effective. However, this small village had been in the firefight time and time again between the GVN and Viet Cong troops. Today was a sorrowful time as the 9 remaining members of the Chu Lai CAP stood at attention to honor their fallen brethren from the events of a preemptive strike from enemy troops. Second Lieutenant Timothy Adams, the colonel of a nearby post, called out as he began their roll call. There was no answer. The colonel repeated the lieutenant's name twice. Stern faces of battle-worn Marines fought hard not to betray their grief to the loss of their companions. Gunnery Sergeant Ulysses Barrow. The colonel continued calling names of the absent platoon members. Finally, he came to the last name on the list. He paused, and in a cracking voice, he called out the last name. Captain John Varan. He took a breath, and called the name 2 more times, the last time in a strained and forced voice. The colonel was the person who had assigned Captain Varan to this post due to a previous disagreement the 2 men had. After the names were called, a solemn Butterfield's lullaby was played, accompanied by 3 volley salute. The men at attention saluted the flag. The colonel stood after the ceremony, looking beyond the trees of the Southeast Asia jungle. May you find peace above, Captain Varan. General Jandar kept a watchful vigilance over the many platoons of honorable Marines that were all alone in Indian country. He valued the men and the duty they sought to protect and improve the lives of thousands of citizens, half a world away from their homes. When the combined action platoon of the Chu Lai village experienced heavy concentrated fire from communist forces, Jandar intervened to save the lives of these men, so they would be able to instruct his forces in Valhalla what it truly means to be a hero. Captain John Varan was a paragon amongst this company of men, willing to take a bullet for a companion in order to assure that his men will eventually return home to their families. His valiant efforts in battle can now be seen in the fronts of Nastralund against the innumerable hordes of orcs and Maro that clog the pathways to the provinces beyond the country's borders.
Wow, that was deep.
Very deep.
Yeah. Wow. And I was let's see here. Hold on a second. Okay, it's in small lettering. You know, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. No, I was just seeing where could we get this miniature from, and it's in very, very small lettering here. Hold on. If I can zoom that in more. It's a hero. Okay, it's a HeroClix figure. Apparently.
Yeah, there's 2 different models that you can use. Sergeant Rock, 019, 020, and 021. And then there's Frank Rock, General Frank Rock, 207.
From
So,
Cosmic Justice set. Interesting.
Curious to know what the big difference between those are. Okay. Let's see.
About $10 each on eBay right now.
Nice.
So still pretty cheap nowadays. He's a really interesting unit. I mean, he has a lot of synergies because there's a lot of Jandar humans. So, I mean, if you have 80 points in an army that you don't need...
Oh, I think we lost you for a second there, Jack.
Uh-oh. Jandar, don't take him! Not now!
We need you, Jack. We need you. Here, we'll go. He might be having some technical difficulties, so we'll see.
Yeah, if you want to proxy Jack in your armies, you might want to take 0, 13, 40 of the HeroClix figures.
Oh gosh. Can you guys hear me?
All right.
There you
Yeah.
go.
We got you. We got you.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead and finish your
internet-
thought. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and finish your thought.
Yeah. John Varan's just a good, unit to have. In an army where you have 80 points left over and you have a bunch of Jandar humans.
Mhm.
He works best with the 8th Infantry Pathfinders. They seem to be kind of worked on together as like an army. Yeah, 8th Infantry are really cool with John Varan because they like to stick close to their human soldier hero.
Mhm.
And John Varan likes to soak up wounds for figures. So like you can have an army basically that consists of John Varan and just like 5 to 8 8th Infantries, and that's actually a pretty solid build, because the 8th Infantry, they're single heroes, but you can take up to 3 attacks a turn with them. Like you can take 3 different attacks. So like you have this pot of soldiers with John Varan in the center, and he's providing cover for them, and they're like shooting attacks of 4 from 6 range. And then he can kind of go off later on and just like take a bunch of attacks of 2 with his special attack.
So a solid base for a good like range army, basically.
Yeah, and and they're all pretty cheap, like points wise.
Mhm.
Like so you can add a lot of stuff to that army too. Like you could even add airborne elite.
Mhm.
There's some synergy there with all that. You can Marcus, he gives them extra movement and an extra attack. And Ebon armor as well. I think I talked a little bit about Ebon armor in the pre-show, but Ebon armor are just really cool if you have an army full of unique humans, because they can just kind of keep on coming back to life, and they're
That's
really
interesting.
annoying to deal with.
Because okay, I mean we'll do Ebon armor like sometime in the future, but if the ability is what I think it is, that's a pretty interesting ability, really.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, John he's a really cool unit. Again, I feel like he's maybe one of those overlooked VC units. He's really fun, and he provides a really like unique kind of gameplay. Like he's usually not the center of attack, but because of that, he gets to like choose when he takes wounds. If that makes sense. Like you can kind of force your opponent to put wounds on him, if you're playing it correctly.
Yeah.
So does he become a different? Does he join a different Valkyrie general if he doesn't use Purple Heart at all? He's just complete he's a complete jerk the entire game. Doesn't take any health. He doesn't save anybody. He's just like
Yeah, he becomes Einar.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, you do. I think the Purple Heart can only go so far because he does have 5 life. I mean, it might might save your squad for a little bit, but you got to really make sure you land your hits too against whatever the opposing army is, for sure.
Yeah, he really does work in tandem with 8th Infantry. It's a bit difficult to like discuss. Like it's hard to see like his value without like looking at what the 8th Infantry do. because they can basically, when you take a turn, when you reveal an order marker on a unique soldier hero that follows Jandar, the 8th Infantry Pathfinders can move, all the ones that you have can move 5 spaces, but they have to move adjacent to that human soldier who follows Jandar. So they're forced to get adjacent to him, and so if you're taking attacks from range, you have this giant pod of 8th Infantry with John Varan, and they can either choose to attack 8th Infantry, and then you can choose to wound John Varan, or you can attack John Varan, and then you just have like safe development with your 8th Infantry.
It's interesting.
And then they get free movement essentially when you take a turn with John. And then
I guess once John has lots of wounds too, then Battle Valor really comes into play, and he basically does a Hail Mary for whoever he needs to go up against.
Yeah. The Zoomers would say he pops off in the end game.
Sure.
Yeah, he's really cool.
Interesting. Anything else we want to say about Captain John? I think we're good. Okay. It's a good miniature to a fairly good miniature, as Jason was looking up to actually acquire and get the card, and get yourself some 8th Infantry too, apparently, and then have yourself a fun soldier army next time. How often, like on the competitive scene, would you usually see this, like for like VC related tournaments?
I've only seen him. I've only played against him once.
Okay.
He's really good in like pod draft armies.
I can see that.
Because he's really cheap, and you know he can fit a bunch of 8th Infantry. He'd probably be pretty relevant. Joe, this is maybe a little sneak peek at what I've been looking at for the next Mars event, but he's pretty good in like rule of low number.
Right.
Yeah. You could take him in like 5 8th Infantry.
Sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So in situations like that, he can be pretty potent. Okay. I'd say.
That's good to know. All right. Well, if that's everything to talk about Captain John, I think that's good. A very fair VC unit to use with Army-Men and VC Army-Men for sure. So that's taking a look at Captain John Varan from VC Customs. All right. And so I guess we'll be wrapping up then in a second tonight. Here, I'm gonna stop sharing. Those are some fun units. Looking at tonight, I think my personal fave was the Omegacron one. I'm definitely I'd probably be looking up sometime this week and just be like, okay, can I get this on eBay? I don't care. I just need the model, and then cut off the base. Much too.
Just film it in like as if it was like a horror movie, and just like a hack and slash, just.
Or if you paint it up first, try to make it look like the fancy miniature, and then cut it off the base. I have no idea how much that miniature is actually worth. Some of those MechWarriors, like I said, though, are worth a ton of money to tournament prices. Even today, some of them are worth hundreds of dollars.
For sure.
There's so few of them out there, and there's still some diehard collectors that want them.
Sure, it makes sense. But then I have to say, no, it's painted. It's a cheaper version. That's hilarious. But yeah, okay. If you want to wrap, let's go ahead and.
Do we have comments?
We did them at the start of the
You did
show.
them in the start, so we're not even going by the schedule anymore.
No, I had to do an audible because someone showed up late.
Understood.
No, but yeah, we covered that. So
okay,
we're good with that show. No, you're good. So so like I said, we can plug away as we so choose. So Joe, why don't you go first?
All right, cool. I'll try to keep it quick because I like to talk. I don't have too much to plug other than for anyone waiting for more Joe Crazy content. Just gotta wait a little bit longer. Things got in the way. Weekend was busy. But I'm working on a big project right now. So if anyone watched my most recent What's Joeing On, there's a sneak peek to what that next video is going to be. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go check out the What's Joeing On video. Santa left me a little present, and it's not that little. So please go check that out. Wait for it. I'm gonna post a short of it this week so everyone's up to date, so they don't have to watch the full video. So I'm working on a lot of things, getting a lot of B-roll, got to write a script. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty busy. Got Jack was teasing earlier, we got another Mars event coming up on the 22nd of February. So gotta start thinking about what I want to bring. And yeah, it's we can't believe you guys believe January's over.
Yeah,
we're in February right now, and it feels like February's gonna fly right by.
Oh yeah, especially for Renegade Con coming up. Yep.
Yeah, we got Renegade Con coming up. There's Valentine's Day. I had just made a bunch of plans to do something then, and boy, it's just gonna fly right by. I just know it. I just know it. It's just gonna go so quick. But yeah, that's pretty much me. I'll yield my time.
All right, thank you, Joe. Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Jason, the creator of the Tabletop Battlefield, as well as the creator of these guys back here, Fractured Colony Miniatures, which this set is currently live on Kickstarter. If you're into 3D printable gaming miniatures, you can learn more about that at fracturedcolony.com.
Yeah, go ahead and definitely check out the Kickstarter. Give Jason some support for that Kickstarter. Those units look really fun for that. All right, and Jack, if you want to plug anything.
Yeah, I don't really have much to plug. I'm not a content creator, but I do have a map.
He builds
Who
maps.
knows, you know?
He builds maps.
I build maps, competitive maps for the community, and sometimes some fun maps. So if you're interested in playing on competitive maps or checking out my map thread, you can find me on Heroscapers under Shurig's map threads. Yeah, I like to make maps. What can I say?
And thank you, Jack, and thank you, Jack, for coming on to late notice as well. So we really do appreciate you hopping on and being a guest for tonight. And I'm Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla, and yes, this is my 6th day into the flu. Yay! But hey, we did it. We did it tonight. So that's a wonderful thing. And this Wednesday, I'm going to be as long as I'm still continuing the road to recovery, I'm going to be skirmishing some units. I had some suggestions from the audience the last few live streams. So we're going to be having some fun skirmishes this Wednesday, and then next Sunday, guys, 10-year anniversary for the Tales of Valhalla YouTube channel. It has been 10 years since I launched this channel, and so we're gonna have a little bit of fun that day. Yes, I understand it's the Super Bowl, but you know what? Who wants to watch the Chiefs? Go
Birds.
No, but I am going to be streaming. We're just gonna have some friends on, possibly just look back at what's happened the past 10 years, what's going to be happening in the future. I might stream also early during the day and actually do have a arena bowl of Heroscape miniatures. I might do some skirmishes in the early afternoon as well on that Sunday, because it is a Super Bowl and I have a little bit of free time at the moment. I might do that as well. So lots of fun things to look up. Oh, and also for that Sunday stream too, probably going to be doing a giveaway. What am I going to give away? I'll leave that as a surprise. We'll see. But definitely tune in. Should be a lot of fun remembering a bit of the past. So with that, I thank everybody for watching. Everybody that showed up in the chat, bless you all. let's close. You have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it. And we'll see all of you next time. And this is going to be a very cold close because there is no music. Later, all. Good night. Bye-bye. Okay, wait a second. Okay, hold on a second. Pop up real quick at the end. Justin's asking me, which friends, Phoebe or Joey? Yes or no. I guess you'll find out next Sunday. Later, Justin. Bye.